In this video, I'm going to show you 5 systems you need for your business going into 2024. And if you already have these systems, these are the ones I've realized have had such a huge impact in my own business and the ones I'm really nailing and dialing in going into this next year. So here's the thing I've realized just in business in general, life, whatever it is, whatever business system you have or whatever challenge you're trying to solve, you have inputs, you have a process in place for that, you have outputs, and then you have feedback. For example, this year in 2023 was the first year we ran ads for our business. It honestly was a game changer. And what I realized with ads or anything in general is just, let's just say we use this Facebook ads analogy, right? So you have a bunch of ads, and generally you want to launch a bunch of ads, let's just say 5 to 10 ads. Those are all our inputs. And yeah, you'll have some processes in place on how you launch the ads, what ad creative you're going to use, the copy, even launching an ad, what processes in place do you have to launch an ad, right? Like for us, I have a Notion built out that makes it really easy for me to just check things off when I run ads to make sure I hit all the things I need to do. And just when brainstorming and all of that, which makes it really easy to actually launch ads, right? So we have all these inputs, we have the process in place, and then by launching all of these ads, we have outputs, and we can look at the data and then make informed decisions. From there, we can see, hey, you know what? This one ad in particular has a lower cost per lead than all the other ones, has a higher click-through rate, and is performing really well. Okay, perfect. That gives us feedback. From that feedback, then we can make a decision, improve our inputs. We'll cut out the ads that are not performing, put more money into the one that's performing, and then do the same thing, right? Then maybe we'll, from that one ad, maybe we'll just change a few things that gives us more inputs, gives us more outputs, it gives us more feedback. And just in general, this way of thinking in business has literally transformed the way I approach problems. Because here's the thing, whenever you do something new in business, it's not always going to go great. Even when you launch ads in the beginning, it's probably going to be terrible because you're going to lose out money on the ads that are not performing. But then you have that feedback and those outputs to make better decisions. Whatever it is, even on a new offer in your business. Hey, you know what? I want to try out this new offer in my business. Okay, that's the input. You get the output, you have the feedback, and then you just repeat that process, right? And having this cycle in place in your business, whatever it is so important. And just improving this loop and time to get feedback has been really important. And with that said, I'm going to show you 5 systems that have transformed my business and the ones that I think I'm really focusing on in 2024. And I think these are super crucial systems you need in your business. So number 1 is a marketing system. So like I mentioned, in 2023, we launched ads for the first time, and that literally transformed our business and actually brought in leads. In the beginning, what I actually try to do is a lot of cold calling, cold emailing, and all of that, which I'm not saying it doesn't work, but I personally don't feel like it's the most effective use of my time. But instead, we have ads that run 24/7. They bring in leads, they bring in booked calls on my calendar, and it makes that process really easy, right? And when you're building out your own marketing system, whether you're going to run a VSL funnel, a group funnel, just going to run ads to a lead form, you need this way of thinking, right? You have some inputs, you have a process in place, outputs, and feedback. And then by optimizing your process, right, you can probably get some more outputs. And another thing that's really important is just making it easy to get feedback. So you can, let's just say, even for the marketing system, okay, what do you have in place for you to actually view these outputs? Okay, well, for ads, maybe it's going to Facebook Manager and looking at all the data. Okay, perfect. From there, you can make a decision on what you want to do. Okay, maybe it's also looking at my Google Analytics to see how many people are actually visiting my website. right? So you need this systems in place. Sales system, this is one I'm actually really proud of what we've been able. Actually really proud of what we've been able to build in our business. So this past year is the first year we actually ran ads, and it's actually the first year when we actually built out a sales system and actually started getting on calls and trying to close some deals. So we actually joined basically a sales program where his name's Cole Gordon, right? There's a guy named Cole Gordon who has a sales program. We joined it and we're working with their team to build out our own sales system. And honestly, that's helped a ton. But one thing I've done, and I have a video about this, is leveraging AI and Notion and just building this feedback loop for our sales system, where even what I do is after every call, at some point, I'll go and review the call I did, and then I'll take notes on how I could improve, what was the outcome, and all of that. Not only that, I have a system in place where I actually score the lead. So even before I get on a call with them, I already know if they're a good lead or they're a bad lead. And I could do this by asking questions like, what's your monthly revenue, right? Or even a question like, what is the biggest challenge you're facing? And if they write like a one-word response or they just do NA, it means they're not like really that engaged. But if they really spend time, write a thoughtful response, it means like they're more engaged and more serious, and I'll probably score them higher, right? So this is a system, and that's the process piece that I'm talking about, right? And this is really important, right? So, okay, you need a process to launch successful ads. You need a process to be able to improve your sales system. And then you have the outputs and you have the feedback. So just this way of thinking in general, it helps a ton. And just realizing with any new system or any new thing you're launching, it's not going to be perfect in the beginning. But what you really want to do is keep this in mind and make sure you have a feedback loop so you could keep improving it little by little. And over time, it's going to get perfect, almost perfect, right? Content system. This is another one I'm really proud of too. I might have a full video at some point pretty soon. If I do, I'll link it somewhere in here, but I do have a video on my sales system. Content system, this is another system that I'm pretty proud of what we've done. What we do is, probably won't show it on this video because it'll be too long, but what we do is we have a Notion page where we manage all of our scheduling. So let me show you actually really quick. So this is what that Notion page looks like, right? This is for my fiance Natalie. So you can see here we have not started, needs editing, edited, rejected because something was wrong with it, approved, scheduled, posted, and then reviewed. See, and this is what I'm saying. You need to have a system in place and a feedback loop to constantly improve. And actually, my fiance Natalie had this idea. So we had a system in place to review our sales calls. And she's like, hey, you know what? I had this idea where after every content I post, I want to review it to figure out how I could improve it and figure out what could have been better. And I'm like, oh, that's a genius idea. So then now we actually recently added this reviewed column so we could go in here, review it, and then here it says IPEC reviewed. This is our VA who manages the editing and scheduling, and then Natalie reviewed, right? So this is pretty cool. And then we have this whole backend operations where once we upload it to Google Drive, it gets a new Notion page gets created and it gets added here, and it notifies our VA on Slack, and there's this whole backend system there involved. So I'm pretty proud of what we did here. Here's our guidelines, the caption, so guidelines, how to edit content, how to upload content, how to upload a podcast, how to send a newsletter for our VA to manage. So yeah, so this is pretty cool. What else? Onboarding system. This is another one. I think we have a pretty good onboarding system. I think it could be improved, and I know it's actually on my backlog, but onboarding system, I'll probably do a whole separate video on this. But essentially, Once they pay, I just move them over in our Go High Level pipeline, and a bunch of automations kick off. They get an invitation to our Slack. They get a next steps video. They get the contract. They get an onboarding form. It creates their Go High Level account. So there's a bunch of things that happen in place. This system is pretty good, and I've seen what other people do online, and they're pretty good too. What I love, I think one thing that's very unique is like other people will use Panda Docs and or Dropbox or something for their documents. We do it all within Go High Level, which is pretty cool because then it's all in one system. And it was a little tricky to set it up, but that's one thing I think is pretty cool. Onboarding system, right? One thing I want to do there. Another thing we do is we track, like we have a checklist for our clients. And currently we do this on a Google Sheets where there's a little checkbox for, okay, did they download the mobile app? Did they get access to their Go High Level? Have they watched this module? Did they get access to the online training? So there's a bunch of different things. One thing I want to do moving forward is probably instead of Google Sheets, use Notion. I think it's a lot nicer to lay it out. So I feel like if I were to say our top 3 biggest tools in business that work really well right now, I mean, there's a bunch, but Go High Level is number 1. Slack for communication, number 2, and then Notion for a lot of project management stuff. I think those apps are killer. And then you have Loom and a bunch of other stuff, but just those 3 alone, hands down, some of the best apps for business. So that's an onboarding system, right? So even when you're building out your own system, figure out, okay, how can I improve my onboarding system? Okay, well then maybe for the processes parts and the inputs and outputs, like you could track how long does it take for your client to see their first win, right? I think that would be pretty cool. Or how long does it take them to finish modules 1 through 5? Track that. So then little things like that gives you feedback, because then let's just say it takes them 2 months to see their first win. You're like, out of 9 out of 10 people, it takes them 3 months to see their first win. Okay, how can you figure out how to make micro wins throughout their experience working with you, right? So that's the onboarding system. The last one, fulfillment system. This could kind of go together with the onboarding system, but I think what this really is how can you ensure your clients see results? How can you ensure they're satisfied? And even for a fulfillment system, it could be, you know what? 30 days after they start working with us, they get a feedback form to tell us about how their experience has been. So then from there, you could get feedback, make better decisions with those outputs, and then improve your process, right? So maybe it's like, hey, you know what? Maybe you need better communication in the beginning. Maybe you need to set better expectations. So this is really important too. One thing that's hard that I notice with a lot of agencies, even with ourselves, is sometimes we get too caught up in the marketing and sales and bringing more people in that we forget to really nail down the fulfillment system and just focus on that, because you already have clients who are working with you, but sometimes you get caught up in focusing too much on marketing and sales. Make sure you're also focusing on fulfillment and onboarding, because this is all like customer success, the customer experience. And yeah, so these 5 systems here, I think are super crucial for your business. If you're missing one of these, you know what? I'm not posting content consistently. Okay, maybe you need a content system to organize your ideas, to make it easier for you to publish them. Like one of the things that was game changing for us is now we don't edit or publish our own posts. We have our VA do it by building out processes for that. That saves us a shitload of time. Onboarding system, right? If you don't have a system in place for this is going to take up a lot of your time. If you don't have a system in place for fulfillment, you're not going to provide great results. If you don't have a system in place for sales, you're not going to make money. And if you don't have a system in place for marketing, you're also not going to make money. You're not going to bring in any new leads. for your sales team. So those are the 5 systems. Really figure out how you can improve each one of these, even if it's like 1% better every day or every week or every month. But you really need to just figure out, how can I get more feedback sooner and quicker? How can I improve my way of analyzing each system and how to improve each one? And I think that's really going to change the game for you in 2024. So with that being said, check out my other videos. Right now I have a great video on our cell system, going into detail on how we do that. And I'm also going to be launching out a lot of more behind the scenes videos on our systems, because even for me, I wished I had a behind the scenes look in other businesses and how they operate, so I could get ideas and pick things that I like. So I like sharing this type of content with you. So stay tuned. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell icon or whatever they say. And yeah, stay tuned for the next one. Peace.